So I hope you're all having a good week. We have tomorrow's lunar eclipse that is the start of some interesting energy. I don't know about you, but I'm definitely feeling it. There was a sudden shift in the energy this afternoon, and I could really, I really wanted to go and lie down. And it kind of, I felt quite energized for most of this week, and then suddenly this afternoon it just went straight down. So there was a definite shift in the energy. So I don't know how how you guys are feeling, but it seems to be picking up with intensity, and then sitting quietly and connecting into where we're at the moment and what the energies are doing and how we're being impacted. There certainly is some interesting stuff that is coming up. And what was most relevant, I think, was I was kind of shown this, that we're needing to make this real shift in how we surrender our past. So we have often used our past as something that defines us. We've used our past as a story that we tell about who we are and how we are in the world and why we are the way in the world. And at the moment, there is a real need for us to surrender that past, to surrender the old pain, to surrender the hurt, to surrender the wounding, and really just let the stories go. The definition that those stories has given us is no longer relevant to who we are today. It is no longer relevant to the people that we are becoming and how we are stepping forward in this new time. So it really is, we really are in this space, and we have this opportunity now to let it go. And it offers us a more expansive space where we can expand into ourselves. We can expand beyond the limits that our past has created for us. And, the definition that we have gained around ourselves based on our past, the definition we've gained around ourselves from the stories that we've told about who we are and what we are, those, if we continue, they just keep us stuck in the past. They keep us stuck in this old limited framework and doesn't give us the energy or even the desire to expand and to move on from what we have known. And we really are moving away from what we have known. The world is never going to be the same. We are never going to be the same. We're moving into this new cycle. And with tomorrow's full moon eclipse, we are being offered a doorway into this new cycle and into this new kind of phase of our growth, of our evolution, of our development. And, I kind of sat with that and I said, okay, so I think, like most of you, I'm always a little impatient with these things, and I kind of want things to happen quickly and move quickly. And I think, okay, so this is a new cycle. We're going to step forward into this new cycle and things are just going to start happening. But that's not what I'm being shown or what I'm being given. So what I was told earlier today was that, as we move into this new cycle, we need to move inside of ourselves first, because the new cycle starts within. So we have to move within, connect to the energy and what that energy is doing internally before we start to try and manifest things outside of ourselves. And we need to focus on, because this lunar eclipse falls in the astrological sign of Gemini, which is the twins. It is representing that dualistic or polarized aspect of ourselves. So we have to look at where in ourselves is there an imbalance? Where are things not balanced? So we can look at them, we can break it down to where's the balance between our emotional and our mental self, our head and our heart? Where's the balance between our physical and our spiritual selves? We are spiritual beings, but we are human beings as well. And we're having this experience, and it needs to be a physical experience. We need to be human in order to be able to have the journey that we are having. And then, of course, there's the masculine and feminine balance that we need to create within ourselves. So it is a time where we need to look at, where am I out of balance in myself? Where am I out of balance in these different aspects, and how do I then bring that balance back? So we have this opportunity now, working with the energy of this full moon, to really see and observe in ourselves where this balance is needed. And my feeling is this energy is going to come in with the full moon, and it is going to highlight where that imbalance is. So if we can be if we can observe ourselves, observe what happens in the next couple of weeks, observe what happens in our lives without going into reaction, just observe, oh, this is showing me that there is an imbalance in me, or there is an imbalance in my life, and what do I need to shift and change to be able to bring that balance back? So rather than going into reaction if things start going wrong or things start happening, we go into the space of becoming the observer of ourselves and of our lives. The other side of this as well is that it is enabling us to tap into so much more of our own essence and our own soul energy. We're able to draw on our soul force and the energy of our soul, and that will give us the strength and the courage that we need to face the shifts and changes that are happening. Because there are shifts and changes. We've been going through this incredible year where we've been offered the opportunity to literally press pause on life, and to be able to go inside of ourselves. And yes, some of us have used that as an opportunity and done the work that is necessary, and some of us haven't. And it's not necessarily that nothing has happened if you haven't consciously done the work. It just means that there's things that have shifted within you that you perhaps are not conscious or aware of. So now is the time to become conscious and aware of those. The other aspect of it is, as this energy hits, we do need to make sure that we are really grounded, because when we are grounded and fully embodied within our physical being, we're able to withstand the energies as they intensify in and around us. So use this week to also focus on, where are you ungrounded? Why are you ungrounded? What is it that is stopping you from being grounded in this moment? What is uncomfortable? What are you trying to distract yourself from? What are you trying to hide from within yourself or in your world? You know, often when we're ungrounded, it is because something uncomfortable is happening, whether that's something uncomfortable in our environment or something uncomfortable in us. So it's about becoming aware of what is that uncomfortability, and start to look at how you can shift that so that your physical form, your physical reality becomes more and more comfortable for yourself. And then, you know, as we step forward through this lunar eclipse doorway, we are being offered the opportunity to once again let go of the past. Whatever strings or hooks are keeping us stuck to the past relationships, past experiences, past pain, past wounding, all of that. It's about unhooking ourselves and just letting it all go. And recognizing that, you know, we are stepping into a space where we need to be open and welcoming to new experiences and new opportunities, because they are available to us. But if we're still stuck in the past, if we are limited by the structure of the past, we can't see what those opportunities are. We can't see, you know, our perspective is narrow, whereas what we want to be doing is stepping forward and having our perspective opening in that way, so we can see far more around us and far more within our lives. I mean, the other thing is that there will be, as the energy intensifies, there are going to be physical things that are coming up. So make sure that you're drinking lots of water. There could be pains and aches that suddenly appear out of nowhere. There's that lovely bloating. I don't know about any of you, but the full moon comes and I'm suddenly all feeling like I'm blowing up. And I have observed it over the years of, you know, it's as the moon starts to get full, so do I. And then as it starts to wane again, it all slowly goes down again. So it seems to be part of the cycle that we're in. But as these energies intensify, we definitely are carrying more of the energy within us. And what I've started to look at, and using myself as a bit of a guinea pig here, is looking at, okay, so if I'm absorbing all of this energy, surely it's meant to be something that's flowing through me, not sitting in me. So I'm looking at ways of how to activate that flow. And I think that what happens, or it certainly has been for me from my observations, is that the energy comes in And I think there's some part of my system that goes into a little bit of fright at the intensity or the enormity of the energy. And so there's a feeling of just standing still, you know, that moment of fright of like, so everything kind of locks, and then I have to make sure to focus on releasing and letting go and releasing and letting go. So I'm hoping that today's meditation is going to be this opportunity for us to allow the energies to start moving through us in an easier way, so that we're not feeling the symptoms of the intensity of energy that is happening. A lot of the focus of what I'm sensing and feeling around this time is it's also an important, I suppose, heart-opening opportunity where there's a lot of clearing on an emotional level. So that pain and that wounding from the past is often emotional pain and often emotional wounding that does close off our hearts and stops the flow of that energy. So as we move through this time and we allow ourselves to surrender the past, to surrender the old, we're able to move more and more into this heart-centered space, which then, as you know, if you've listened to the webinars in the past, when we connect with our soul, it is through our heart. So the more open our heart is, the more we're able to access the energy of our soul, the wisdom and the guidance of that part of ourselves. So there is this real emotional shift that is happening, which is expanding the heart area. And often that can be quite uncomfortable for some people, because as the heart expands, often what rises to the surface is the old pain and the old hurt. So what is key is to just feel it, but let it go. Don't hang on to it. Don't try and work it out. Just feel it and let it move on. It's important that you don't hang on to those emotions or those feelings, because they aren't really relevant to this time. Has anyone else got anything they'd like to share, or any insights or information or questions before I continue?
Hi, Kate. I've had just a terrible few days. My cousin, who I have about 35 first cousins, big Irish family, but the one in life that I've been close to since I was a little girl, she's my age, and she took a massive stroke on Wednesday. Very unexpected. She was out mowing her lawn, and she's in intensive care, bleeding from the brain. I can't imagine that she's going to survive it. You know, they put her on a ventilator, and I got to tell you, it's hard for me to imagine my life without, her name is Mary Flanagan, and I called her Merv, and it's hard for me to imagine my life without her in it. She's like a sister to me, and you know, she's the person who knew all your crazy, we did so many crazy things, and you know, they moved to Boston when we were little girls, but I have every letter she ever wrote me back to 4th grade, and you know, so I just don't even, I'm immobilized. You know, I can't go see her. It's the COVID. She was primary caretaker of my 91-year-old aunt, and her siblings left behind tend towards the selfish side of life, and that's the kindest thing I can say. And of course, now they're looking to recruit just to take over her duties. They live like it's 40 miles round trip, you know, so the relatives that live a quarter of a mile away don't want to bother, you know. So it's just a mess, and I can't really go in and say goodbye, or I mean, I know she wouldn't want to live in a nursing home because her younger sister took a stroke, a diabetic stroke at 38, and they brought her back to life, and she lived 4 years in a near vegetative state in a nursing home. So, you know, but the doctors talked her sister, who was her healthcare proxy, out of the DNR. So now they're doing things that I'm pretty sure she would not be happy about. but she's unconscious. And it's just, like this is not the first really close person I've lost just in the time we've been in this group. And I just go, and ironically, his 67th birthday was yesterday, or 2 days ago. So he's been on my mind. And the other cousin in life I was the closest to, her birthday's today. She's been gone a few years, and she also died this time of year. My mom died this time of year. I'm not liking Thanksgiving these days. So anyway, if the group would, I won't say pray for her recovery, pray for whatever her highest good is, if it's time to leave the planet. But like I said, I'm just, I can't even think straight, so anyway, that's how I am these days.
Well, I think we need to give some praise for you too, Nancy, and just give you the strength that you need at this time, because it has been a rough year for you. I mean, I know it's been a rough year for many people, but you have lost a number of close people to you this year, particularly. Yeah. I think it is incredibly hard. As much as death is such a incredible freedom for the person that goes, it's not so great for those of us that are left behind, and having to process our own grief and our own sadness. And I don't know about you, Nancy, but I've certainly felt in this really, people keep saying to me, how are you doing, after my brother's death? And I keep saying it's really weird being me, of having that spiritual perspective and that spiritual understanding and that connection on the one side. And yet there's the very real human side of me that's got to process the grief and the sadness and all of that stuff that comes with being human. And I kind of vacillate between the two, and then try and find some sort of balance between them so that I can maintain my own, I suppose my own stability. And it is hard, if we could just be in, I kind of think, well, if I could just be in the human side, then I could just process all of that stuff and move through it. Yeah, or otherwise just be in the spiritual side and have that greater perspective of life and death and understanding that it's not the end. But it's challenging.
Knowing that we had this group today helped me the last couple of days to get through, because I said, okay, it's okay to just sit in a chair and watch Hallmark Christmas movies because you can't process anything else. And so I thank everyone, because I knew this was a safe space. There's so much drama going on because of who's going to take care of my aunt and all the things that, actually trying to stay out of, but not doing a great job at that. But like I said, I knew there was comfort this morning. So I just said, okay, just keep breathing. And like you said, it's that I understand on a spiritual perspective that I really can't, while I'd like her to recover, honestly, I know she would never want to live the way that she's paralyzed completely on one side. And, I know how she feels about it, because over the last 20 years since her sister stroked out, we've talked about what she would want and what she wouldn't want. But on the human side, I don't want her to leave me, and so I understand what you mean. You just go back and forth from God has a plan to really, this is like, thanks. The holidays are hard enough. 2020 didn't suck enough. Yeah. You thought, oh, I know how I can add to this, and of course you get those crazy thoughts like, she didn't do it on purpose, and whatever. So anyway, but I thank this group for just being here.
Well, I did make a joke. I think it was last week. A friend of my daughter's died in a terrible accident. Not this weekend, the previous weekend, and I kind of made this joke of 2020 is just the year that just keeps on giving. It just never stops. It's just one trauma after another, and it does really feel like we're just being smacked from one thing to the next thing, and it's hard to find your feet in it all. I mean, when my daughter told me about her friend, I kind of went deaf for a moment and had to say to her, I'm really sorry, you're going to have to repeat that, because it was almost like I couldn't take the information in. And I think a lot of us are like that. It's, things are happening, and it really is unbelievable, because the pace of it is so unbelievable. No, it's hard. I'm really sorry, Nancy, for that. I really am.
I think you're saying about us needing to be grounded just to try and steady it, because it is the pace. It's all the trauma coming through and the energies coming through, Kate. So I think grounding is going to be critical every single day, every moment that we're around.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, it's also, I kind of keep imagining that myself as being a tree with its roots really, really deep in the earth, because the winds of these energies are just smacking us. And we do need to be able to move and to flow with them, but we don't want to be knocked over. So Elise has just mentioned here, she's been waking up at 2:30 and 3:30 with anxiety and sweating, but she's listening to chanting to calm her down. And I think there's a lot of that as well. I'm finding I'm exhausted, get into bed and can't sleep. And last week particularly, I felt like I was having lots of conversations, and felt like I was talking to people. I don't know who the people were, but I felt like I was talking the whole night, woke up feeling absolutely exhausted. So it's we are just really incredibly busy at the moment from an energetic perspective.
I call that the committee that meets in my head.
Well, I tried really hard to turn that committee off, but wasn't happening. Yeah, Nancy, there's some good messages for you here. Yeah, and a couple of people have also saying that lots of activity at night. Yeah, the nights seem very intense. The days seem long and exhausting, and the nights are very busy.
I've been
Lynn's also electric.
sorry.
Hi, Anita.
Hi, Kate. Hi. No, just in terms of the physical aspect of this eclipse energy is so, I've been feeling it almost like, I feel like it's actually pushing in on me during the day as well. Like it's so physical. I haven't had it quite like this before. And also getting these weird dizzy things happening. I mean, I always get I always get vertigo generally with energetic stuff. But this is different. It feels in the moment when it happens, like the whole world center of gravity, the planet center of gravity has shifted, and I literally can't actually find, I don't know where is up or where is down, and the whole thing's spinning. I don't know if anyone else has been experiencing that.
I've had those moments where it feels like, we had an earthquake here a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if I mentioned it. I may have forgotten in everything that's happening. In South Africa, certainly in Cape Town, we don't get earthquakes. So it's really unusual. There apparently was one in the beginning of October. I wasn't here, so I didn't experience it. But this one, I kind of woke up because there was a bird going completely berserk outside, and I kind of thought, what is going on? And the bird sounded like a siren. So I got up, looked out the window, and I thought, I can't see anything, climbed back into bed, lay down, and my entire bed moved. So I kind of sat up and was, okay, what was that? And, you know, I really felt like my whole reality had shifted. So I thought there was a whole lot of other things going on, including a rat running over my bed. I don't know how that would have been possible, but that's where my head went first. And only woke up in the morning to messages from my daughter saying there was an earthquake. Did you feel it? And I think, you know, I've actually had that feeling a couple of times, and I've actually kind of stopped and thought, is this another earthquake, or is actually something energetic happening? But it is that same kind of feeling of like something's moving and I've got to reorientate myself within the space. So, you know, it's busy.
I was just going to say, I'm glad Anita said that, because I've had really dizzy, weird, floaty feelings. Like last night, when it was like a sort of anesthetic. And as you say, you don't know which way you're going or where you are. And it's very weird, but I'm just wondering whether that was just being ungrounded. I wasn't sure whether it was energies or just me being, I need to do some work on being grounded. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think that the grounding is key, because things are shifting quite dramatically, and as we are more grounded, we're more able to stabilize ourselves within that shifting. And if we think about it, you know, and I know I've written about it in the daily emails about how we are going through this shift from one reality and into a new reality. And I often think, you know, on an intellectual level, I can understand it. I can work it out. I can figure it out. But the actual physical experience of having that one reality dissolve and the new reality being kind of birthed within us is, I think, something completely new and not something that we've ever experienced before. So these kind of weird symptoms, I think, are part of that. You know, we spoke about it last week about how each one of us has an aspect of this new reality that we carry within us, and that does need to be birthed through us and into the world. So when we go through these kind of physical sensations, it could perhaps be that aspect of you growing or developing in you again. You know, there could be an expansion of yourself and your own energy into the new that we're creating. And it does feel like the foundation, you know, our foundations are shifting, and that dizziness is something that is actually quite common at the moment. I've spoken to a lot of people that are feeling that. Elizabeth Rose has written, it's interesting how they must be doing different things, not just energetically, but physically. Used to get a big buzz around 4 a.m. and 4:30, but now it is between 2:30 and 3:30. Yeah, I also used to wake up closer to 4, and it's definitely closer to 2 now. Jennifer says even her dog is stirring at night. Yeah, mine too. And Shelley's also had gravity shifting and vision splits. Yeah, that vision split is weird. Eh? You can actually see something move. It's really weird. And then Caroline, would having a cough and a cold and flu for the last 2 weeks and intense headaches leaving me with no energy mean that I'm purging. That is the story I'm giving myself, as I hope I'm clearing space within to make space for the new energies coming in. Definitely. I mean, you know, when we get any kind of illness, is the body purging something. It's purging toxins. So if we look at colds and the cough, it's kind of, you know, that area. It's often unprocessed grief that is needing to be cleared and released. So Caroline, for me, that it feels like it's perhaps that is going, and maybe with that knowledge, it'll go quicker. Elizabeth Rose has said, I feel like a blank screen moment when the dizziness takes you momentarily and shuts out all your senses. Lasts for a few seconds, but can't see, hear, speak, or move at those times. Yeah.
Can you explain the vision split thing better? What you experience?
I don't even think I have words to explain it, because it is very strange. You know, it feels a bit like if you cracked a screen and the one part of the screen is different and the other part is clear. It kind of feels like that, but it's and so maybe even like a magnifying glass that is a bit blurry and then suddenly clears. It's that kind of feeling. But it seems to happen, you know, I can almost see a line and then this side is blurry and then that side is all clear. And I kind of I feel very disorientated. I don't know if anyone else has got a better explanation than me. Pat says she's sleeping fine, however, during the day is disorientated. Yeah, like time is shifting, forget what day or time it is. Yeah, I'm also having that. I had a week of challenging forgetting appointments and not noticing what the time was. And Lisa's also listened to the recordings on emotional wounds and soul wounds to bring me back into balance and help me get back to normal. Yes, energy is super intense. And then Caroline, feel intense sadness as my old life is leaving, lots of memories, of course, and sometimes very surreal, as if I'm watching someone else on a movie screen. Sometimes when I see a friendship disappear or feel that connection is slipping out of my hands, I feel the sadness, and then I'm able to say, okay, better things to come. Weird how sometimes I'm so detached. That detachment is quite relevant to where we are right now. And it is that, I mean, thank you for writing that, because we can get so caught up in the stories of it and triggered by the emotions of those stories, and that detachment is what enables us to step back from it, to observe it, but let it move on, because it is no longer relevant to the life that you're stepping into, and it is what keeps us limited and kind of small, and it's time to step out of being small. And I think for a lot of us, you know, sorry, I just need to take a sip of water. I think for a lot of us, we've been waiting for this time. You know, we've been waiting for the time for things to start to shift and for the changes to happen. And I mean, I've said it before, I got to a point where I thought it was never going to happen. And I thought, well, you know, obviously all that insight and intuition that I had around it, I was obviously wrong, because I can't see anything changing. And I think that life's just going to continue. And then 2020 hit and everything changed. And I think that, you know, we're having to reorientate ourselves around all these shifts and changes that are happening. We're having to, on a daily basis, reorientate ourselves around what is coming up for us from within us, the emotions, the thoughts, the feelings, but also then what we are being triggered with in regards to what is in our environment. So the challenges that we're faced, the loss of loved ones, you know, we're having to adapt all the time, and we're learning we're having to be incredibly resilient as a result of that, and to be able to not allow ourselves to be disheartened or exhausted or to give up, because, you know, it's almost like it's right there, and if we give up now, we're gonna miss it. You know, we give up now, we're not going to be able to move through that time or through this time, and it is hard. And I think that this opportunity that we have is incredibly important, because it does give us the sense of not being alone, and not, you know, we're all feeling this, you know, some of us more than others, but we're all feeling the same thing. And it is incredible to be able to share from that perspective of feeling like I'm here with a group who gets it. I'm not having to justify myself. I'm not having to explain myself. I'm here with people who understand when I say, you know, I feel weird because my human self is feeling one thing and my spiritual self knows something else. You know, it's an incredible space to be able to share. Jennifer said, even with these shifts, we will still be waiting, I think. we can find resilience with the detachment. Yeah, I think I'm not sure if it's waiting. It's more we will now be moving through the processes much faster. I think with the energy and everything that we've gone through, not just this year, but in the last 2 decades, maybe 3 decades, everything that we've gone through has been creating space for where we are right now. So I feel like we're not necessarily going to be waiting anymore, but we're going to have to adjust as the intensity of the energies increases and the space for these energies to come in becomes greater. So it is going to be a time of I don't know what the word is, adapting. You know, we're going to have to adapt at every moment. Lisa said she's been a little hard on her husband at times lately too. Just let him know what's going on with me right now, and it's not about him. Yeah, I think it must be incredibly hard to be in a relationship at the moment. I kind of look at people that are in relationships, and I think, you know, how do you not come into conflict with your partner? How do you maintain that space and go through these processes without feeling the need to explain or justify, or I'm lucky enough I can go and flop on my bed and lie there for 20 minutes and kind of gather myself, and I've just got my children to answer to, and they're so used to me being weird, it's okay. But I think it is important to communicate to your partners, if you have them, what's going on. It's essential, really, because it's not about them. We might like to make it about them. Lynn's just mentioned she had a vision of the earth rising up faster and faster, like the acceleration of everything. Yeah, I've also seen that. Elise says her husband's in a different place, so positive and like nothing's going on. Well, how do we get to his world? Find out where that road is, or that door, or that gate, or how do we get there? Oh, that must be difficult, Elise. Oh, good. She says she asks a lot of questions. Well, if we could find the door. He doesn't always have the answers. Well, no. I sometimes think, isn't it, wouldn't it be so nice if we could go back to being small children and just, wake up every day with excitement that it's a new day and there are new adventures, and life, no matter what it brings, if we fall on our face, it's still going to be an adventure. I don't know about you, but I don't think I've ever woken up like
that. I do love that, Kate. I think that's the sense of waiting that I have, is that giddy, childlike anticipation, that the change is happening and that it's coming, and that that just giddy happy, I guess. And not all the time, obviously, but
yeah, there are moments of it. I had one the other day where it was quite a surreal moment where I kind of suddenly thought, I can't believe this year. I can't believe what has happened. I can't believe that the entire world has gone into lockdown and there's some virus that's running rampant through. I kind of had to stop and say, this really isn't a movie. It's really happening. And then there is that level of excitement of, look at what has already happened, and what exciting things are possible as a result of all of this.
to me, it feels a little like when I was pregnant with my first child, you know, I knew, I mean, you know, right, that eventually the child comes.
Yes.
But, you know, it was this wild anticipation, knowing that my life would be changed forever. And also, you know, a good healthy dose of fear.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's complicated. It's all knotted up together.
Mm. Yeah, and it's also that stepping into this unknown space that you know you've never experienced before. I remember having that too, of just at times that pure terror of what have I done? Yeah, yeah. And also knowing you can't exactly send the kid back.
Oh, exactly. I felt like I was in this tunnel,
Yeah.
and you know, there's no going back. There's only going forward, and that it would be intense.
Mm. Yeah.
So that's a sense of our own rebirthing, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. It is that, and I think it was. I don't know if anyone's heard of Jennifer Hoffman. She is in the States. She's a spiritual teacher, and she wrote something on Facebook, I think it was, where she just mentioned that tunnel. You know that I'm going to paraphrase because I can't remember her words that she used, but she said, you know, we entered 2020 looking down a tunnel, but seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So we knew that we were going down, we were heading in the right direction. And then as the challenges have come about and as we've had to face everything that has happened this year, the light has kind of, it hasn't gone away, but it's been blocked a little bit by these challenges. But there is something in us that keeps drawing us forward because we know there is no going back. And we're having to just trust that despite the fact that it's looking a little bit thin at the end there, the light is still as big as it was when we started at the beginning of the year. And it is a bit like that when you're having a child. I mean, it is that, you know, there's an end to it, but you don't know what you're going to be or how you're going to be when you kind of spat out at the end of it. And when we reach the end of this tunnel, you know, I'm ever hopeful it'll be on the 21st of December, but you know, I don't think so. I can still hope, Megan, shaking her head at me. I think, you know, I think it's going to be, it's certainly going to be a journey that's not going to be boring.
And Kate, I think those of us that will resist the journey, that will, as Jennifer said, the fear that comes with it, it's just going to be really, really difficult. For those that can say, okay, use a bit of detachment and stop resisting the changes and the things that we need to change within ourselves, it's going to be easier. I'm not going to say easy, it's going to be easier than those that are kicking and screaming against the changes.
Yeah, I think if we can accept the fact that we are changing, that life is changing, then it is going to make it easier. It's when we are feeling challenged by resisting that change, that's when it becomes really, really difficult.
Yeah, it's like where
Elizabeth Rose.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's like the cold in Iowa. You know, if you go out into the ice and snow and you resist that, you shiver yourself to bits.
Mm-hmm.
But if you relax and embrace the beauty of it and just be in it, and, you know, wear good clothing, then it's all good. Was it the Swedish who say there is no bad weather, only bad clothing?
Bad
So
clothing. Yeah. Yeah. We've just got to make sure we've got the right gear. We'll be fine.
Kate, I was just going to say that with all of this, that I just so love a week off. You know, I'm just kind of getting to that point where, you know, you should chill and you should embrace it. And I'm just thinking COVID happened, you know, I thought, great, I'll have time to sort of reflect, think, catch up with myself. And instead I am just knackered. I mean, this week has been particularly bad, but I just sort of think, just put it on pause for a little while. You know, I'm quite emotional this week, and it's been either full on one way, feeling hideous, or very at peace in the middle of the week. And then today I've just been this complete wreck. And just the idea of Monday and the week ahead, I'm thinking, I just want to go into a hovel and hide and come back later. So, but we can't, can we? I mean, you say relax and go into it, but there is a point where you just think, I don't know, also take a few days for yourself where you don't think about it. So how do you combine those two things?
Well, I think for me, I find it essential to take time every day to do something for myself. And sometimes that something is just a bath at the end of the day, because that's all I've been able to manage. But I think that, you know, if we can do something for ourselves each day, that you know, we turn off our phones, we turn off our the TV, and create that space of peace, because it's almost like there are times where we need that it's like placing yourself in a bit of a bubble, so that you're not being continually bombarded by the collective environment. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Someone, can you hear me?
I can, Lorraine.
Hey, hey. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Lori Ladd. She's in the States too, and I've been listening to her, and she talks, the analogy she uses is we're on a roller coaster, and we're learning how to go up and down this roller coaster. We're on this ride, you know, ascension ride, and that we're going to get to the end of this, but we're going to go up and we're going to go down. And just learning how, and that we've got a lot more of that. You know, it feels peaceful, a little bit more peaceful now, but it's going to get more intense. And we're learning how to ride it without reacting. Like what you were saying, observe. So when we're going up, we're in that anticipation, just observe it and how we feel, but try not to overly react to it. And then we're going to go down, and it may be a good feeling, it may be a terrible feeling, but we're just learning how to have resilience through that, and just observe and allow it to happen. I keep hearing the word allow. Just allow it. Just allow it. You're not going to love every moment, but just allow it, and rest when you need to, and just keep riding the roller coaster until we get to wherever we're going.
I like that. Thanks, Lorraine. Yeah, relax and observe the ride.
Right, and
yeah.
I would say every time I feel like here we go again, something new's happening, we're just going to be going that up. I think of myself as a kid on that roller coaster with my sister, and you know, and it's terrifying, and then it's exciting, and you know, it's just going to be all that, and we just have to just allow it to happen.
And I think it's also, just Fiona, I think it's also important that you do allow yourself the space to rest and to kind of recuperate. Because it does feel like we're kind of working 24/7. So if you're not taking time out, it's burnout stuff. And you know, I know that a lot of people are finding it really frustrating, because they're saying, well, I haven't achieved anything this year, but I'm exhausted. I haven't done anything this year because we've all been in lockdown, but I'm exhausted. But actually, you know, the work that we're doing is internal work, not external work. So although we may not have on the outside seem to have achieved anything, there's an incredible amount that we have achieved within ourselves that is important to acknowledge. You know, I mean, we're birthing an entire new world. That's huge.
Kate, I've found this week especially, I relate to a lot of what everyone's saying about the sort of going up and down, and sometimes in a really good space, sometimes in a really bad. But when I've been in a good space, and actually it has pervaded sometimes even the bad, I am finding that I'm being gentler with myself, which is massive for me. I mean, that's huge for me. And it's so comforting. I've kind of created like that one meditation where we sort of created that bubble of love really around us, and it's just I really I envision that bubble of self-love all the time, like as much as I can, whenever, and it is the most amazing thing because you just tap into it and it really does help because it's there, you know, it's there. We've all worked hard enough that it's there, and it's just trusting into it. And Megan, one thing is you were saying last week, I think it was last week, when we were talking about where you look at someone and where you have to avoid, you have to be really careful around judging that person or situation or whatever, and because knowing that the soul perspective, you're in non-judgment, and where you were saying it's something in yourself, you know, it's showing you something in yourself that you need to think about. I've been doing that a lot more since you said it. It's like I knew it before, but you saying it has brought it into, and it's amazing what's happening because the difference is now I'm saying it in a gentle way to myself. I'm not saying it harshly to myself. When it happens, I go, okay, that's interesting. Right. Yeah, that I must, whereas before it was like, oh yeah, absolutely. That's terrible of me. I did, you know, coming down on myself. And it's that shift is huge. I'm really finding that to be, there's like a softness. And it's interesting. I was at a 50th birthday party. It obviously wasn't very big because of COVID yesterday. And so not that many people, but I mean, you know, enough being with a group of people now, obviously since COVID, it's, you know, it's quite a thing now being in a group of people. And I did notice something along the lines of what I'm saying, not like me, but there was a certain softness there that in that situation before, I don't think it would have been there. You know, I think people have, they've just become a little bit more tender in a way, or in a lot of different ways, a different, you can, you know, a lot of different nuances of that word, but there's and the kind of respectfulness happening of other people and that kind of thing. And I think that's a really positive thing, you know. I think it kind of had to take a big thing to create that kind of softness. It's not across the board, but it's there. And that was quite lovely. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear you being kinder to yourself, Anita. It is essential. Sense of humor and being kind.
Kate, as I'm listening to everybody, I'm thinking how much harder all of this would be if we didn't have a higher perspective, even if we can't live there all the time. I look at other people and how hopeless this must all seem if you don't have a belief that there's a purpose to all of this. And that on the other side, wherever the other side of this is, there is more kindness and more all of the things Anita was talking about. And I don't know, I was thinking about what Elise said about her husband, and yeah, we'd all like to live there, but so many people aren't living there. And like I said, I listen to some people and I understand they just feel hopelessness right now. And at least I don't feel hopeless. You know, I think it's chaotic. It's not like anything I've ever experienced in my 66 years. And like you said earlier, I sometimes sit back and go, holy mackerel, I'm glad I didn't see this coming. You know, like much as we all thought things were going to happen, but the things going to happen in my insights were never anything like the whole world stops, you know. And I kind of joke with friends that if on New Year's Day, when we all said Happy New Year, and we could have said, guess what's happening in March? Oh boy, you know, would have, if I had told anybody this, which I couldn't have, because again, I had no sight that it was coming, who would have believed me? You know? So again, I think the value of being able to be with people that's really helped me through this is that we can go, yeah, this really sucks. And, you know, I've lost people and I've, you know, whatever, but somewhere I believe we're still headed towards that light.
I agree. Yeah, and some days we kind of run towards it and jump over all the obstacles and the challenges and dive forward, and other times I feel like I'm literally crawling through my day, but still towards that same place. So, and I you know, it's difficult in a way to be able to, I think in the past, you know, we knew, okay, Monday to Friday was a work week, Saturday and Sunday was a weekend, but now we seem to be working 24 hours, 7 days a week, and it isn't something that we can quantify. You know, where is the proof that we have done all this work? I mean, it isn't here yet. It's still sitting within us, and I think it's only as we start living our lives in a different way and finding new and better ways to align with our soul and to bring that essence out into the world, that we're actually going to see and be able to quantify the amount of work that we've done in 2020. And I do, you know, I think that you know, there are waves. We possibly are. There's one wave going through this year, and there's another wave that's coming through next year. But if we're able to survive this year, we have built an incredible amount of resilience and the capacity to adapt to change. And I think that we'll handle whatever comes, you know, in the next year and the year after that.
Kate, I just want to hop back onto what Anita was saying about the gathering of the group. What I really enjoy about that is when you talk about the group softening, that perhaps what we're doing is we're starting to really appreciate being together. You know, we've been through this. I don't want to go near anybody because of COVID. And you're going to give me COVID and I don't want to be exposed to it. And now when they have an opportunity to come together, the value of being together is what counts. So yeah, I appreciate that change.
Yeah, I agree. All right. A lot of answers to that question, Fiona. I hope you got something out of that. Okay. If anyone else have anything they'd like to share? Lorraine, when I'm interacting with someone struggling, I try to open my heart's end and send them love. This raises my consciousness and helps them to lift theirs, and then take time to nurture myself so that I have the energy to keep doing this over and over. Because I've learned it can be depleting if you don't stay grounded, but the overall process raises us up into higher levels of consciousness. Yeah, I like that. I must say I've been doing a lot of focusing on kindness, being kind to people. You know, especially if I'm sitting in traffic and someone wants to come in, let them, you know, being kind to the people in the stores that are working, and you know, that kindness is, it creates a nice shift. I'm also finding people responding really really positively, you know, when you show that level of kindness. I think that's really what's, you know, what's been missing in our world. It's become very hard, and each one for their own. And I think that this year has definitely shifted that love is the path. Lorraine, I like that. Yeah.
So it's been so interesting listening to everybody, because it's like you're all saying exactly how I'm feeling, but really differently. So the different perspectives are just fabulous. I love this group. So last week we were talking about Gemini season, or whatever it is astrological. I'm a Gemini. And the way I see what's happening to me or the world or whatever is that we're asking to be everything simultaneously. We like, if you're a Gemini, it's like you're everything. It's really weird. Like we are masculine and feminine. We are a spirit and a human. We are on a roller coaster, as was being described. We're going up, we're going down, we're scared, we're exhilarated, and we're like all of the sides of a coin simultaneously. And it's just overwhelming at times if you just don't let go, because we're not used to letting go and just letting it happen and accepting it and being resilient. We're little control freaks, all of us. And so it's really, for me, it's really interesting, because what I feel like I'm trying to do is be everything simultaneously, which is just, I guess it goes back to that balance that we started this conversation with, is how do we balance when such extremes are happening? We're locked from everybody, and yet we're all together on this Zoom loving each other. It's the being everything simultaneously. It's the only thing I can describe it. It's such a, and I don't think we're going to go on the other side and it's going to be utopia. I think we're just going to get used to being everything, because the bad isn't going to go away. It'll still be here. There will still be hopeless people and unkind people. I've always thought, yeah, when we get to the other side, it'll just be utopia. Not. But it's interesting. I think we're learning to deal with it all, and I don't know. That's just how I see it. But thank you, because your perspectives are all just so marvelous. I love this.
Thanks, Patty. I love that, having to experience it all and be it all. And I always look at that balance of being, if we look at the body, we have the center of our body is our heart. And we have a left arm and a right arm, and we have legs and we have a head. That balance needs to be achieved. And if we can look at how do I balance myself in my reality so that I'm fully engaged in my life and fully engaged with myself, but from that heart space being the center of me. And if, I often use my yoga practice as an opportunity to see where I'm out of balance, because there may be a pose that asks me to step on my left foot and lift my right leg up, and I can't do it. And I kind of stumble around and I think, oh, that's interesting. Left being my feminine side, oh, feminine's a little bit out of balance, better check what's going on there. Or, sometimes it's the right side and I stumble or fall over onto the right side, and I can look at that as well. Or, you guys remember I broke my toe and I cut my finger all on the right side, so looking at those kind of things and saying, okay, so there's something going on, there's an imbalance that needs to be addressed, that needs to be looked at. And then instead of, as you said, Anita, beating yourself up about seeing where that imbalance is, it's an opportunity to then bring a correction, and to bring yourself back into balance. And sometimes that imbalance has been there because that's how you've lived for most of your life and you've never seen it. But now we're in this time where we are being given the opportunity to see so much more of who we are and what we're about. In the past, we couldn't. As our perspective broadens, as our consciousness expands, we get the opportunity to see more, to understand more, to gain more clarity around everything, really, not just even ourselves. And then we move into a deeper space of ultimately self-love. And if we can move into that space of self-love, then, you know, that's when we take care of ourselves, we take care of the people we love, and we take care of our earth. All right, so maybe we should move on to doing some meditating if everyone's ready, unless there's anything else. I really will try not to shout at my dog. Apparently, you guys don't even notice him barking, it's only me. So I'm going to learn to ignore it. So just allow yourself to move into a comfy space. And just take a moment to settle in. And just focus on your breathing. And just take a few deep breaths. And see these breaths as deep cleansing breaths. So as you exhale, just allow yourself to let go of any worries and concerns, any anxieties, any fears, anything that's coming up at the moment. Just let it all go. And allow yourself to become comfortable in your body. If there's any pain or discomfort that you're feeling, just allow yourself to breathe into that space and relax the body. And allow your mind to calm. And just keep breathing into your body. Really allowing it to relax. Allowing the tension to leave your body. And the more you relax your body, the better able you are to surrender. And now in your mind's eye, see yourself lying in a beautiful field of flowers. You are lying on your back, and you can feel the warmth of the earth beneath you, and you can feel the warmth of the sun above you. And you allow yourself just a moment to connect to this place, observing the beauty of the earth around you, the flowers and the plants and the trees. And you place your hands palms down on the earth. And you really feel the ground beneath you. You feel the warmth of the earth beneath you. You allow yourself a moment to connect to the power of the earth. And as you acknowledge this connection, you can feel the energy of the earth begin to move and to pulse beneath your hands. And you feel this energy moving into your body and being. Your body becomes heavy as it drops even deeper into a relaxed state and in connection with the earth. And you feel the energy of the earth as it moves through your body, restoring your energy. Moving into the spaces in your body that are feeling tired or depleted. The areas in your body where you're feeling discomfort and pain. You just feel this earth energy moving into those spaces, nurturing them, healing them, supporting them. And you acknowledge that through your heartbeat, you connect to the earth. You connect to her heartbeat. And you feel your heart aligning with the heart of the earth. And you recognize what a privilege it is to be here, to be human, to be on this beautiful planet. And you give thanks and send love to the earth. And you ask the earth now, what is it that I need to bring into balance within me and within my life? Recognizing that this balance will help the earth. You look up now to the sky, and you can see the sun and the moon, the full moon, sitting in the same sky. And you can see them slowly moving towards each other. And you can feel the intensity of the energy as these two forces, masculine and feminine, move closer together. You can feel the pressure of the energy around you. And you take a moment to observe your body. Where is the energy not flowing? Where is the energy stuck? And you allow yourself to breathe into that area. Focusing on releasing any stuckness, any blockages. Anything that may be preventing the flow of energy moving through your body and being. And feeling your body adjust as the energies begin to flow powerfully through you. And you recognize the strength that you have to facilitate this process and to allow these energies to flow through you. And then when you're ready, just draw your awareness back into the space that you're in, the room that you're in, back into this human form. Just keep your eyes closed for a minute. And let's take a moment to connect with the divine, the creator of all things. And to ask that power, that source, to surround Nancy's cousin Mary with the strength, the love, and the support that she needs at this time. And let us ask for the best and the highest outcome of this situation. Let us ask that Nancy and her family are given the strength and the courage that they need to move through this time. And all those who are facing challenge, who are suffering, who are in pain, let us pray that they receive the strength and the courage that they need. And may we, each one of us, be given the strength and the resilience to continue this journey, to open our hearts, to find peace and to hold a space of love. Thank you. You can open your eyes when you're ready. Hope you enjoyed that meditation. I really felt that one. It was great. So hopefully we're feeling all a little bit more energized and restored and revived after that. And we can hopefully start this week feeling a little stronger. And hopefully get some sleep, although I doubt it. Not with this full moon coming up. All right, everyone. I look forward to connecting you with you all next week. And actually, I'm going to try and remember which webinar we did that bubble of kind of protection, Anita, that you spoke about. Maybe we can put that into an audio because I think it is important.
Look back maybe 4 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago. That would be my guess.
Okay, I'll have a look. Thank you. Thanks, Jennifer. I'll have a look as well. Well, I'm sending you all lots of love, and may you be grounded as we step into this week. Yeah, and Nancy, lots of love to you, and I hope things turn out the best for your cousin, as hard as it may be for you to have to let go.
Thank you, everyone, for your kindness and support. I appreciate it.
Sending lots of love to you all. See you all next week.